Hello and welcome. My name is Carsten Lützen. I'm a Scrum Master and Agile Coach. Today I'll share an exercise called Resource Detective. And if you like these videos, please subscribe and share. That is really awesome and gives a lot of energy for me. This exercise, I learned that from Jesper and Daniel when I attended a coaching course some time ago, and it's a brilliant way to get feedback on how you coach. This doesn't require you to be a professional or trained coach, but still, if you want to improve your conversation skills and coaching skills, this is a great exercise to do. So let's get to it. This resource detective is a way to get feedback and give feedback and train these two things while you also train how to coach and have better conversation with people. And it works in groups of 3. You have one person being the client, and you have one person being the coach, and then the third person being this resource detective. The goal of the coach is, of course, to help the client get some insights and new ways to look at a certain problem, but while at the same time also look for resources in the client. The client's responsibility is, other than being coached of course, to also look for resources in the coach. And with resources I mean, what great things is the coach doing? What was really nice small questions or body language that the coach was using throughout this coaching conversation. And then this resource detective, if we are online, turn off the camera, mute yourself. You can maybe be a timekeeper and then in the chat send it directly to the coach saying 5 minutes left or how long time you want this timekeeper to give warning, so to say, or notices. But in the coaching conversation, this resource detective, if we are physically in the same room, then have the coach and coachee sit next to each other, and then the resource detective sit out of sight of the other two and just be silent. No comments, no questions allowed. What the resource detective does is both looks for signs of co-creation or navigation. So when the coach is asking a really good question, something that fosters reflection in the client, so a powerful question, or a question that you really thought, oh, that was a great way of asking that question. And in that way, you look for resources in the coach. But you also look for resources in the client. So what makes you confident as a resource detective that the client will overcome this issue at hand or this problem at hand? And how do we then put that into an exercise? It's actually rather simple. Set a time frame. Say the coach coaches for instance 10 minutes, then the timekeeper might want to give a heads up 1 minute or 2 minutes before the time runs out. When we are then done with these 10 minutes, first we resource gossip about the coachee or the client. That means now the resource detective turns on camera and microphone, and the coachee turns off camera and microphone, and then the coach and the resource detective talk about the resources that they saw in the coachee, signs of the coachee being signs and things that you can see in the coachee can help them overcome, and what were you really amazed of in the coachee. When we have resource gossip about the coachee, we resource gossip about the coach. Then the coachee turns on the camera and microphone again. The coach turns off the camera and the microphone, and then the resource detective and coach talks about what did the coach do really well. What were the pivotal moment in that coaching conversation where the coachee had like a new way of seeing things. When did it really start to change something for the coachee? What were the really good questions? Did we have a good coaching agreement in the beginning? Did we have a good closing of the coaching session? Did we have follow-ups? And so everything that worked and was really nice, we resource gossip about it here. And then of course, then the coach turns on the microphone and the camera again, and then we switch places. So now it's a new person being the coach, a new person being the client, a new person being the resource detective. And what's really nice about this is, of course, it's a massive boost of confidence because you hear a lot of positive things, and you also get a lot of things that you can do even more of because it's really great. You can also, in advance, tell the resource detective as a coach, I want to try out this specific question. Please notice how that works. So you can also give the resource detective a specific cue that you would like the resource detective to pay extra attention to, of course, without the client knowing, because if the client knows, then this whole exercise doesn't work that well, right? But that's actually it. It's a really, really great way of practicing coaching. And as always, if you have comments, questions, similar exercises or the likes, please just send me a text message or write a comment. I love hearing from you. And then have a really, really nice day.